So we will present the PPT. We can start.
Thank you.
Sir?
Ma'am, could you hear me now?
Yes,
Yes.
sir. In fact, this lecture has been a place for suspense and anticipation, and we are happy to welcome you to this session, sir.
Express my
Yes, sir.
inconvenience.
No
Very
problem, sir. Yes, sir.
but I
Thank you.
couldn't listen in time. Sorry for the inconvenience. Uh, at the outset, a very good afternoon to every one of you. Revered John, respectable person head, dear research scholars and students. Good afternoon to every one of you gathered on Google Meet platform for the lecture Text and Texture in Literary Genres. And the keynote speaker, as I have heard her, she rightly pointed out the major distinction between what is the text and what is the texture. There is a great debate between different schools of literary critics. One group says that it is the text which makes meaning to, and other group on the other hand states that it is the texture which creates the text. So that is the debate which, after going through some of the literary criticism which are being prescribed or which are being taught to me, from which I could think that the topic will be a appropriate one to make a clear-cut point of view of what is text and what is texture. So from there, I have taken the lead and it has come up with a few critical points as already explored by some of the eminent critics. So let me go to first the text defined by a few great scholars. It is, according to J.C. Cutford, who in his book A Theory of Comparative Theory of Translation has defined text like this. It goes like this: a text is a word or a phrase or a sentence or a paragraph or entire page or entire text, that means our entire book, or it may be a volume, or it may be a series of volume, or it may be a library on the whole. And further he defines the term, a broken word may be a text. A broken sentence also may be a text. A broken text also may be a text. So this is the idea later explored by some of the postmodern exponent theorists and writers in their writings, starting from T.S. Eliot onwards. What T.S. Eliot has exercised in the poem Wasteland, that is broken text. Wasteland is a broken text because he has brought a lot of references, allusions, images, metaphors from different literature, from different languages. That's why it's a broken text. And what he has practiced there in the poem, that is called the cut-up method, later that was very much profounded and explored by postmodern writers like William Burroughs, Jack Kerouac, Allen Ginsberg, Palaster, and Kurt Vonnegut, and other writers. So a text may be an object. It may be an unbroken object, or it may be an event, it may be a phrase, it may be a class, or it may be a sentence, or it may be a whole volume, or it may be a library. This is what Gutford has defined. But whereas coming to the other literary school, neo-critics, which was performed by Spingon, who made a strong statement that a text is block dots on the white paper. This school of people, they never believe that text are written by letters. Just they are coded. They are characters. Then that's why they call it, I quote the line from neo-critics, that a text bears block dots on the white paper. That's why every literary piece which accommodates a criticism after the criticism or argument of the argument, because the text remains a block dots on the white paper. That's what the neo-critic school of thinkers, or what you call the critics, neo-critics, they believe. Harold Bloom, the other one of the leading exponent literary critic, who has said that your text is a multiple tissues, as the keynote speaker already pointed out. It is a multiple layers of tissues. It is we, the reader, will have to peel out one after one another, so that we can get into a meaning of any literary text. But what the author has intended, that we couldn't get in, but we frame the meaning, we generate the meaning on our own with the existing knowledge already constructed there or registered there in our brain. This is what Harold Bloom has said. And a text, any work of art also can be called as a text. That I have given in the forthcoming slides. Any work of art is subjected to criticism, can be interpreted in different ways. I think that I hope that I'm having a particular slide in the course of my lecture that I will explore later. This is what a few definitions given by different schools of writers that I have just cited for your information. And coming to how you interpret a text, whether the reader gives the meaning or the writer takes the meaning. Where lies the meaning? According to Noam Chomsky, one of the very popular linguist and also language critic, who said that a word does not have meaning because a word is loaded with full of meaning. A word has so many meanings. That's why individual words do not have meaning, because individual words have a lot of meaning. But it has meaning when it is put up in a particular place, in an apt place, as S.T. Coleridge has said that in his literary biography, the other literary canon made by S.T. Coleridge along with his friend Wordsworth, where he has said that apt words should be put up in an apt place. There the reader got to understand, got to infer the meaning of the text. So who gets the meaning? Who generates the meaning? What the author has intended is being misinterpreted or is being misunderstood by the readers, even mature readers, because the word which carries the meaning or the way in which we take up the meaning is something failure one. What the author has intended, that is left to remain there in the text itself, but we take our own meaning according to the pre-primary knowledge which is already gained by experience or by reading different texts. That is why any text which gives different meanings in it by different readers. That's why any text is subjected to give different layers of meaning. This is what I go to understand after going through certain literary criticism. When we coming to the second slide, a word, how do you interpret a word? A word has to undergo your process in driving the meaning of a particular word. A word just is not a word because it has a multiple tissues, because it is a text which has got its own cultural connotations, and its one referential meaning. Without do these two entities, it is the reader or the listener or the audience, we couldn't interpret what is said there in the word, because our conversation which has to take place in our mind. So after, as soon as taking the word into our brain, we will be trying to decode the word and trying to come up with our own interpretation of the word, just we have received or just we have absorbed from the any literary text. How the word which undergoes a process now, a word, the said word, or it is a written word on a text. So every word has got a object. The word becomes object. It has got its own object, and the object has its own context. The context in which the object which denotes the meaning, and the context me and the context that leads to culture, in which culture the particular text is written. That is very important, because not to fry one of the other structuralists who said that without having anthropological knowledge we cannot understand or apprehend what is said there in the text. That's why the culture is one of the very powerful entity that should be taken into account while we try to apprehend or comprehend the text. This is what I could say. And that culture that leads to referential, that means every word which has got its own association of referential and cultural or anthropological or ethnical or whatever you say, that the referential meaning, and from referential to meanings, this is the process of getting the meaning or inferring the meaning from a particular word. Even a particular word which creates or which comes under your different channels of process and getting into the meaning, then what about a particular page, or what about a particular book? That's why again I like to quote Noam Chomsky, that as he has made a remarkable statement, that it is a text does not having its meaning. A text does not have its meaning because the meaning of the text does not lie within itself, but the meaning of the text which lies somewhere. It's where, for example, T.S. Eliot, Westland, the first line itself that reads, which goes like this: April is the cruelest month. So how will you interpret the text? Because that is an allusion, or I could say that this is the technique followed by T.S. Eliot. So this is the line already used by Chaucer in his poem, Contemporary Tales. The first line of that Contemporary Tales is being brought into Wasteland, and where, without knowing that the Chaucer's meaning are given there in Contemporary Tales, without that we cannot interpret how it is used in Wasteland. The first line of the poem, April is the cruelest month. So here, what context it is said by Eliot in the poem Wasteland, in the context in which, because in the modern days context, in modern cultural context, the word is used, because April is the cruelest month. Why? Because people, they never think about God, they never go to church, they never make any kind of penance, prayer, by reading Bible, they never do anything. They demoralize themselves. In which, in that context, April is the cruelest month is used here. Whereas the concept in which the particular sentence used by Chaucer in his Contemporary Tales, April is the cruelest month because it's the spring season where people will be reading Bible and making a kind of a penance and making prayer to Lord Almighty, in which in that context that is written there. So there is a contradiction between these two statements, of course, but without knowing that concept, you cannot understand what is said there in Iliad. There is a linkage. This is called literary linkage. Without knowing this literary tradition or literary linkage, we cannot interpret a literary text. That is why Noam Chomsky has said that a text does not have its meaning because the meaning of the text which lies somewhere. Okay, could you hear me? I have doubt now. Could you hear me, anyone, please? Or am I
Hear
audible
you,
to
sir.
you?
We can hear you,
Okay.
sir.
Yes, sir, we can hear.
Who confines the meaning to a text? Is it the reader or the writer? So, writer who becomes dead, according to Alan Dayton, in his essay, in his critical text, has made a strong statement that it is when the text gives birth to a reader, where the reader kills the author. So the reader takes a very big dagger and assassinates the author like anything. A well pre-planned murder. The author is dead when the reader takes the text. When the reader reads the text, where the author dies. So this is not why, because the author who does not have any place there. Author cannot insect reader, because the reader who takes the text, who interprets the text, who analyzes the text on his or her own, according to his or her premature or primary knowledge that is already existing there in their cognitive domain, or in the cerebrum or cerebral faculty which we have in the brain. So the author does not do anything with the text. Once he has written is written. He does not bother about any criticism which are being produced by the readers. So author is dead. It is the reader who interprets, who gives the meaning to the text. It is not the writer. It is not the speaker who confines the meaning to you, to what is to the spoken words. It is only the listener who attributes meaning to your text or what he or she listened. So it is the reader who generates the meaning. It is not with the text. It is generates, or I could say that he incorporates what he thinks. He incorporates forcefully such a meaning which he is having already there in his brain. This is what I try to say from this slide, from word to meaning. And let me go to the other one. So here we are having, I have given you two sentences for semantic analysis. So now we are having the linguistic parameters to measure or to scrutinize literary text, but I don't want to go into that. That we will see in other lectures if your dean permits. Now coming to semantic analysis, I have given two sentences. Look at here the first sentence, I saw a tree. So what is the meaning of the sentence, or what is the tense of the sentence? While it is written by a particular writer or a particular author, I saw a tree. What is the tense? Anyone could please tell me? Any students?
Past.
Okay, some people they say that it is a past. Where comes the problem? I contradict to your statement because you think that saw is the present tense of say. This is, how you get the meaning. It is it is not written there in the sentence. It is not implied there in the sentence. It is implied there in your mind. So I could say that it is a present tense. So you viewed the sentence, especially the verb saw, it is the signifier of past tense. See plus did is equal to saw. This is what you have interpreted. But that means you did see a tree. This is what you have interpreted. But I say that it is a present tense. It means I cut a tree. So means it is also a present verb. Saw means I here. Saw means cut. So I cut a tree. So the sentence which this is a multiple tissue. This is a sentence. This is a structure. This is a text which has multiple meanings. One meaning, as you said, I saw a tree, the past tense, the sentence is past tense, the meaning is quite different. But I said that it's a present tense, the meaning of it, I cut a tree. The meaning also something different. So the text is the same, but the way in which we looked at the sentence, from our pre-primary knowledge that is already existing there in our cognitive domain, which varies according to different readers, individual readers. So what I want to say is that the sentence which does not have meaning within, but the meaning is not given by or produced by the critic or any writer. It is being generated by the readers. This is what I could understand. So it is a very, very simple sentence, but it is something ambiguous. The sentence is ambiguous, and also it is a double senses. And the other sentence, what could be? Anyone could read the second sentence, please? Any student? Anyone could read the
I
second
read
one?
a or I read a book, sir.
Okay, okay. You yourself is being confused. Okay, I read a book. I read a book. Why? There is a double sense given there. The same problem is with the verb. The verb I read a book. It is also possible. Past tense. I read a book. That's also possible. So any literary text, it is a text. The two examples I have given here, both are considered to be a text that are having multiple layers of meaning. We take the meaning according to our primary knowledge which we have. And I have given you a picture here, and there, tree. I say in the first sentence, I saw a tree. There is a very popular quote, a tongue twister, I could say, rather. I saw a saw, saying a saw, such a saw, I never saw. Where the word is, where the word saw is being repeated again and again, but with a different context, different meaning. I saw a saw, saying a saw, such a saw, I never saw. So the saw which has a different meaning, different roles. Okay, I don't come to that part. Let me coming to the picture given here. Uh, Tree. When I say tree, two concepts like to speak here: signifier and signified. So that's the problem with this above given sentence. I have cited two sentences above the picture. When the moment you hear the word tree, it becomes a sign. The tree is a word that is a signifier, which becomes an object, which becomes an image, which becomes a sign, and how it is signified in your mental concept. What is your mental concept as after getting a word or after observing a word? Here, what is signified? A tree, a big tree is given. For some other people, tree means he would have imagined some other oak tree. Some people may come up with other tree. So, what is the word is a signifier, which becomes an object, and how the object which is being signified there in your mind, which matters for understanding a text. So a tree is given. For some people who might have given case mental picture to some other tree, coconut tree. For some other people, this is called the mental picture which varies person to person. That's what I say. In the I saw a wood. Now the same problem with the sentence. So now what is the sentence? Or what is the meaning of this word? I saw a wood. That means I did see a wood. One meaning. Other meaning is that I cut a wood. The other meaning, past tense, present tense. I tell you. Now the third one is I saw a wood means I cut a wooden piece, one meaning, and the other meaning that I saw a wood means I cut a forest, a thick forest. Woods are lovely, dark and deep. That in that concept, wood means a very big, thick forest. I saw a forest means I saw a forest. I did see a forest. I cut a forest. I cut a wood. Yeah, these are all the meaning can be generated or can be attributed to a single sentence. If single sentence is so, then what about a particular text? That's why even native critics they used to remark Eliot poem Wasteland. We couldn't recognize what the meaning of your poem. This is what they have written a letter to Eliot and begging for explanation of that particular poem. So that is what literary text is. Okay, let us come to the other slide, please. Uh, so we are having the interpretation of a code or a text. I have given where about that. Ma'am, could you view that one to the people? Interpretation of code and text. This concept I will come later. And now could you come to this one, interpretation of code and text? Could you? Yes. Good. Anyone please tell me what is this? What is the video? What is the code that is available there on the page? Anyone, student, please. So it has to be something interactive. And then I will not ask you to read anything because other things that I myself do it, because in psychology this is called okay, anyone please, what is this? Could you hear me please?
Hello.
Any student, could you yes,
Circle.
yes, yeah, it's a circle. Any other?
Yellow
A
color.
dot.
Yellow color circle.
A dot.
It's a dot. It's a yellow color circle. Yes, yes. So you cannot say that it is simply a dot. It's in mechanics of writing, it is a period. It's a dot. It's a circle. As the other one said that it is a yellow circle on the yellow board. Hmm? So what I want to say is that a single code which provides multiple meanings, that matters. Do you understand now? A text cannot remain as it is. A text is multiple tissues, as Harold Bloom has said in his poetics, Origin of Poetry. So even a single dot which accommodates or which involves many interpretation of interpretation, that's why we write interpretation after interpretation to a particular poem, argument after argument to a particular novel or a drama or whatever the literary genres they have. And coming to moving to the other one, interpretation of art as a text. So interpretation of a code that I have already shown you. Now interpretation of art, because already told you in the beginning, the first when I try to define the meaning of a text, there I told you art as a text. How could be art as a text? Here we have the art. It is subjected to which gives a different meaning. Some people it remains a bronze idol. Some people it's a god. It is even to specify that it is ordinary. So you are the statue which has a multiple layers of meaning. But when you apply a feminist criticism to the statue, where comes the problem? Whether the male has given off to a female, or the female has given off to a male, where comes a problem? There is a that where lies the meaning? Do you understand now what I want to say? That could you please? The statute is after all, a statute is after all or not, which when you apply feminist theory, who has given? Are they equal? Equality comes there. So, this is what a text can be, an idol can be, a statue can be, an art can be, a text. This is what I like to say. But it has, even we could write, 100 pages about this image. Okay, 100 pages about this image. Okay, but we don't want to go into that. Let us come to the other one, because here it is. Please, other one, other slide. So here, morphological interpretation. Three words I have given: female, she, women. These words are very much related to that I have already shown to you. How they are female, she, women. How could how can we morphologically, how we can have a philological study of these three words? What is the meaning of it? All are feminine, of course. When you come to the second next slide, please, where how it is being analyzed, where with the male it is prefixed. So female is a word that is prefixed by two morphemes. With he, a single morpheme is added. With men, two morphemes are added. How it is? So from this word, you can, with having this word with your mind, you can see that statue, where you could understand how the statue which provides the meaning. Now female, so with the male exist with that prefix. He also with just there the prefixes just they are attributed to the masculine entities. There is no separate words given for feminine gender. So when you apply feminism to words, where you could understand that it is men-centered, language is men-centered, that's what I want to say. And now when you look at the word as word, then it remains as words only. But when you apply certain theories, where it will take you to a certain meaning, that it will give you, that it will provide you certain meaning, that these prefixes just added to masculine entities, because they do not have separate words. That means language is men-centered. It is created by men world. This is what I like to say. Now with these three entities, try to interpret the idol that I have, or statue that I have shown you, where you could understand how the statue which provides meaning to a text. And now coming to the other one. Okay, how word becomes a sign, where the sign is. The sign, please, next slide one. Next one. Sorry. Word, sign, meanings. I think you are displacing the old one. I asked Karpaka Vadivu to display the PPT 230 that I have sent to recently, but it okay anyhow.
So this is the
The
PPT
word,
that you have sent. So it's with the 230 is
okay,
I've displayed that one.
word, sign, meanings, no problem, because we don't have the time. I want to. There are pages that I have to cover. Word, sign, and meanings.
Okay.
That's given here. Uh, this is how you will get how word becomes a sign. It is because of our mental makeup, the mental concept which you have. So words are two kinds. One is almost all words remain as objects, as signs in literary text. We should not look at words at a surface level as word as a word. So every word is a signifier, and how it is being signified into your mind, and in between these two the meaning comes out. So this is what Ferdinand de Saussure has given a very this is the concept of Ferdinand de Saussure. So any word, another group of words, they are linkage means they will link between two words. That's why we used to call them linkages. The other group of words, almost all words are signs, images, objects. So all the sign which signifies, the word becomes a sign, and a sign which signifies, that means the physical existence. It may be a sound, it may be a word, it may be an image, it may be a color, it may be and it may be an object. So whatever it may be. So it is a signifier. The object or a sign is the signifier. From where, how it is signified in your mind. How do you give the mental picture, mental concept to a particular word? The word sign, which is coded there or which is thrown to you. When a word thrown to you, it is a responsibility for the reader to get it in your mind, because why do I want to explicate this one? You when you read a poem or some of the novels, or even drama, especially poetry, where you cannot interpret a text as merely a words, because in poetry, poets are resorted to write poems with purpose. They select each and every word, because each and every word which has got its own traditional connotations and also literary significance. Almost all words are images. Almost all words are signs, images, similes, like that. And that part I will come to later. And now let us go to the other one. Here the apple, the sign is given here. When I say the apple, some people, they test in psychology. This is called stimuli, response to stimuli. As soon as you hear the word apple, some people, they get saliva, because it is, yes, response is the physical response to the taste. Some people, they reminded of the taste of the apple that they have consumed in the last week or in the last night, as soon as they heard the sound of apple. And how it is signified in the mental picture, it's all with the color, shape, size, taste, and everything. So this is what is being said now. Let us go to the other slides now. The other one. Can we now? Then the other slides. Here I have shown you a bunch of flowers. Flowers, I said, they are words. The words become signs. The signs becomes a signifier that signifies in your mind. And that signifies means a kind of mental picture you will arrive at. It is now, as soon as you hear the word flower, you will arrive at the flower which you like most, or it is already existing there in your brain. No one insect you flower looks like this. So the whatever the flower, your one favorite, you will be reminded of your own favorite flower when you heard the common noun flower. It is not mentioned what flower it is, whether it is a rose or jasmine or a hawthorn or marigold. The flower name is not mentioned, or daffodil. The flower name is not mentioned. So as soon as you heard the name of flower, you will be reminded of your own favorite flower. So this is what is being signified in your mind. Okay, next please. And when I said, and the next is something different. How words are being used as images in the poems, in poetry. Poetry meanings. So when I say a word rose, rose is a word. First it is a word, but it has got its own image. Rose means immediately you will be reminded of the image of the rose. So rose becomes a sign. The sign becomes signified. Some people reminded of yellow rose. Some people reminded of different color flowers. Okay, yellow, red, or red rose. You will be reminded of your own though. And in poetic context, it is a signification 1 and signification 2. The signification 1 signified in your mental picture, and how it is signified in poetry. So rose represents, it has got its own denotative meaning and connotative meaning and social meaning, cultural meaning, and whatever it is. Some people, it is soft, it is fragrant, it is colorful, like that you interpret, and it also can be interpreted in so many ways, which has, because it is an image. But when it is applied in a poem or in literature genre, rose means which signifies the passion, the human passion, human emotions and feelings. So that I will show you later in the poems that I have given the forthcoming slides. Okay, do you understand? Rose in the context used in Western countries something different, but in Indian context in something different, because rose is not our tropical flower. It is tropical flowers are found in Western countries, but we have accustomed to it, but we have our own meaning to the poem. The rose. So rose means a passion. Even when we rose itself, which signifies a kind of emotion. This is what I could say. Let us move to the other slide. The same thing here, the Sasur's interpretation of the word. How Sasur? When you say the word rose, you are having the mental picture of the rose. Some people, the fragrance of the rose. Some people, they reminded of something that their personal feel. Some, it's meant for so many things. I don't want to explore that because you know very well. But why I have shown in this slide Sassur's interpretation of word, and how you get it in your mind, and how you respond to the flower. That for that purpose I have given here. And now coming to the interpretation of the poem Red Rose by Robert Burns, where you could clearly understand how the rose is being used as a word. Even I don't want to explain or explore the entire poem. Just I will try to give how this is, even the title of the poem, how it is multiple. You read red rose. This is how it can be read. Or a red rose. This also it is possible. A red rose. This is also possible. And why it is a red rose? Why it is a red rose? So where it has got its own meaning. So red symbolizes what does it symbolize? Let me read out 2 lines of the poem, and I will bring out how it is multiple tissues, as Harold Bloom already said, with reference to Harold Bloom's statement. Oh, my love is like a red rose that's newly sprung in June. So he said that my love is like a red. Okay, is it a danger, or it is salt, or it is a fragrance? And why here further he said that my love is like a red rose. So the where the rose has got its own meaning, and the red rose double, it is doubled there, it has got its own meaning. And my love is like a red rose. Okay. Second one, because the meaning of the text does not lie with there. It lies maybe lying, the meaning of the first line may be with the second line, or it may be with the end of the stanza, or it may be with some other text. So when we read William Blake's poem Tiger, we try to interpret it with the mental image, or some people with reference to Bible and other things, but without knowing his interpretation to the real tiger, we cannot understand what it is. So like that, here that's newly sprung in June. The one meaning is that my love is like a red rose that sprang in month of June. One meaning. The other meaning that my lover is like a red rose who sprang in the month of June. So this is the interpretation which varies. That red rose, which gives some other meaning, that you will get now after you can try to interpret the text on your own. So just for illustration, I got brought the poem here, and just I told you how a text remains unexplored, how text which accommodates different interpretation, different analysis, different meanings from the reader. For that purpose only, just I have cited this poem interpretation of Red Rose by Robert Bond. And let me come to the other slide, interpretation of rose. I told you how the rose in the poem that we have seen, it is a flower, one thing, it is a pain, it is a romance, it's a love, like that. Different meanings are being given to, attributed to a rose. Yes, a woman can be good. A woman can be compared to a rose. Why poets they do so? When you apply feminist criticism, where you will be getting angry with writers, creative writers. No, we buy rose and use it and keep it use it, and then we throw it within an hour or within one day. Why these creative writers they compare women with rose? So where the text which creates something gender politics, as Kate Millett says. Okay, I leave this interpretation of rose and interpretation of the poem to you, because already I have explored, but I don't want to go into deeper into that. Let me come to the other slide. Different schools of thought and text and texture that matters here. There are different schools of thinkers. They have come up with their own interpretation of any literary text. Any literary text has got two things. One is two major things. One is its form, and the other one is its content. The form and content, according to newer critics. New critics say that any literary piece, any literary genre, whether it may be a short story or a novel or a drama or a poem, these are all the major literary genres. There are literary genres like children literature, poems meant for school going, cartoon literature, even short story, diaries. They are not much explored in research field. In English literary studies, those literary literary genres are not much explored, are not much taken. As you know, people who are even autobiographies, and these are also could be called as even writing letters, John Keats letters between written between Dr. Ambedkar and one of the social thinkers. Letters can be letters written by Keats, written by Shelley, letters written by Allen Ginsberg, letter written by William Burroughs, uh, Ezra Pound. Those letters also can be called literary genres, but we do not take those literary genres. We never consider even they are literary genres. Okay, this what I say, it's meant for the research scholars. They can take up these unexplored areas instead of going to a novel, any place. Okay. And coming to any literary piece of work has got two things, form and content. This is the phrase used by new critics. The other one, substance and structure. Structuralist, what they call it, substance, any literary text has got substance and structure. Putting it in other words, by structuralist group of writers, theorists or critics or philosophers, whatever you call it. And the other man, a very popular literary figure in English literature, that is Matthew Arnold, who has used a phrase in his critical text, study of poetry, that is matter and manner. So, matter and manner, other phrase used by Matthew Arnold in his writing, study of poetry. And architectonic structure. This is the word used by a very popular poet, John Milton, in his critical notes written to Paradise Lost, where he talks about the architectonic principles of constructing a text. And the stylistic critics, they much bother about the stylistic analysis, and the stylistic critics, they have given their own phrase, that is style and substance. So any literary work has got these two things. But what questions is there? But what matters here, whether form attributes meaning to a literary text, or the context which provides meaning to the literary text. Whether structure creates a literature, or a substance creates a literature. Whether matter creates the literary piece, any literary genre, or the manner in which the text is written, that creates a subject matter. What makes a literary text? That there is a debate between different schools of writers. It is, for example, I like to give illustration from Milton's Lycidas. He has written it's an elegy poem written on the death of his own friend Edward II, who happened to be his own classmate in Oxford campus. The poem is written after the death of his friend Lycidas. The subject matter is death. So whether it's because of a death matter that is being put up in the form of an elegy, or if the structure of the elegy which creates or which makes the poem as an elegiac one, what matters? So some people say that it is a form that creates the texture, and some people say that no, it is the content which creates the text. So this is what both are. Without knowing the content, we cannot understand the form. But without knowing the form, we cannot understand the structure, structure, manner, structure, style, or form of the text. Both are collide in a text. Both are fused in a text. But we cannot separate without understanding a form or structure or a style of a text. We cannot interpret it. But the question is that whether either the subject matter which creates the literary genre, or the structure which creates a literary genre. So this is the interpretation I like to touch up. I hope that this is being understood by it is a very important component. But form means structure. I mean, manner means the way in which the text is being written. And style means, I mean, the certain style, the style means the way in which the text is being constructed. And whereas the substance, matter, and content are same. And let me coming to the relevant. I mean, this is the topic which continues in the other page. I mean, the types of interpretation of the text, which in which I could explore what I have said just now. I mean, the form and the content, substance, structure, manner and matter, and style and substance. According to the writer, a very popular critic, Fry, in his archetypal criticism, has has employed two words, two keywords. One is a centripetal approach to a literary text. Another one is centrifugal approach to a literary text. What matters? Centripetal approach means you never bother about the content that is already existing there in the text. You never bother about. So you are roaming outside the text. You will be reading the biography of a particular author on whom you like to work on, or you'll be reading the history or the era or the period in which the writer, your author, is being lived, or you'll be the impact, the social impact, or the scientific innovations which happened in the period of your author. So with which you try to construct a meaning to a particular piece of writing that you take up for your analysis. That type of doing research is the centripetal. You no way connected to the text which is available with you. You do not bother about the text. You bother about the materials which are available outside the text and try to bringing them and try to incorporate, force to, you are forcing your interpretation to the text which you are having in your hand, where you will be misinterpreting your text. This is also one of the approach. Of course, you'll be bringing sociological approach, psychological approach, philosophical approach, feministic approach, all the approaches that you are bringing from outside the text and trying to interpret the meaning of the text on your own. But you are not bothered about what is written there in the text. You are not going into the text. The materials, techniques, devices, other literary elements which are available within the text, you never bother about. You are going outside the text and trying to incorporate the meaning to the text. This is one type of approach. The other one is a centrifugal approach. That means you are going inside the text. You are not bother about the materials available outside the text. The reader who is very much restricted to the center of the text, where he will be very much close to words, images, other literary techniques, devices, the other figurative elements which are used there within the text, with which he or she try to construct the meaning of any piece of writing that he wants to interpret or she wants to interpret. This type of approach is called a centrifugal approach, according to North Freud, or this is called textual interpretation, as used by other critics. Okay, and coming to logocentric image. Logocentric interpretation or logocentric approach to a literary text. So logocentric means you are very much attracted to the text, I mean the matter of the text. So you'll be giving much importance to the literariness or the text of a particular piece of work. Okay, that is called logocentric. You are very much attracted to the letters. I mean, letters means the text as it is written, literally speaking, literally text. Okay, literally speaking, with which you try to construct the meaning of that. And now comes the problem is that image centric, that I will take up with interpretation of image in the next slide, because it will take time. And word centric, the fourth one is word centric, means it doesn't imply the meaning that you are attracted or you are very much focused to the words. It doesn't mean. Word centric means the word is capitalized. Word centric means you try to get the meaning. You try to play. It is a theological oriented one. Word centric means it is a biblical oriented one. That's why word is capitalized. Logocentric, that is word centric actually. But word centric means, according to critics, new critics, it means structuralist or deconstructing. The word centric means you will be try to interpret a particular piece of work with a Christian doctrine, with a Christian philosophy. That is called word centric approach. Could you understand now? As I told you earlier, the poem written by William Blake, Tiger. Is it about the tiger? So without knowing the art drawn by William Blake, we couldn't understand the tiger picture written by William Blake, because it is not Tiger, it's Tyger. It's not a word. People may say that it's a tiger. It's a word written in world English. It's a world version of that one. No. So how do you interpret the text? So with some people interpret the text with the Discovery Channel that they have witnessed, or the tiger that they have seen from some zoo. Or some people then try to interpret it, the tiger is the wild one, the lamp is the very soft one. So tiger is the contrast to it. This is how, with the Christian mythopoetic concept, they try to interpret the text. That type of reading is called word centric. Okay, interpreting a text with a theological connotation, that is called word centric interpretation. Okay, I think let us go to the next one, because image centric, I already told you, every word is an image. Every word is an image used in your text. So you should not view a text as a word, a term as a word. You got to view it as an image, so that you can get the meaning out of it. So here, collective meaning, individual meaning, and poetic meaning. Three terms I have used here. What is that collective image? Collective image is being learnt by the reader or the listener by experience. The collective image that is already available in the society, I mean the culture, I mean your tradition, your own family, that might have given certain meaning to all the images. So it is already preconceived in your mind. It is already registered in your cognitive domain. No one will not impose the collective the collective image. I mean the collective meaning. Okay. What is that individual meaning? That's what I told you, William Blake. The Blake and tiger is not a collective image. It is an individual image made by William Blake himself. What about Daffodil by Wordsworth? Is it a flower that he has seen there in a mountainside? No, this is an individual image created by. After seeing the flower drawn in a gallery, he came to his home, and after that he has composed the poem. And whereas Tiger, William Blake Tiger, is not a Christian one, or it is not a sociological or cultural one. Of course, culture is a language, as George Yule has made a statement in his book Study of Language. But It is not so. So poetic image something different from individual image and a collective image. Individual image is nothing but individual image which becomes poetic. Okay, so we cannot interpret tiger as a tiger. Some people view that that the tiger is the symbol of fire. The tiger which symbolizes, because in the poem there you could see some of the iron images, some iron elements, the anvil, what a hammer, like that, certain images you have with which readers they try to construct that Blake is very much against to industrial revolution, because burning tiger burning bright in the forest of the night. With that, the burning symbol which represents the fire, and the anvil and hammer symbol that denotes this industrialization. This is what sociological critics they try to interpret the meaning of that tiger. Actually, it is an image, individual image produced by produced by William Blake. So, without knowing his art written by William Blake, drawn by William Blake, we cannot interpret the poem. As readers' response to criticism, Wolfgang Reiser, who interpret the poem Tiger in different way, what he has said, Blake does not speak about the animal tiger, or difference between the wild animal and the meek animal, or soft animal and the wild one. He does not speak about. What he says, it is a human digestive system. This is what he has constructed his own meaning there in his criticism readers response. Okay, poetic image is individual made. So it is not available. The individual image is not available. Individual image is can be put it in other words, poetic image. Okay, individual image is nothing but a poetic image created by a poet himself. Okay, this is the distinction between the interpretation of image, collective image, individual image, and poetic image. Three major concepts. So with which you have to move to the poem. The image red rose. Red rose is not available in the market. Red rose is the own construction. It's the own drawing of Robert Burns himself. Okay, you should not interpret the poem with collective memory, with collective memories. So it is the individual image of the writer himself. So you should know. And Sycros, the other poem written by William Blake, what he speaks is he speak about the Sycros, the real rose collective image. Is it a collective? No, it is an individual image. Actually, it is a picture. Once again, it is a portraiture which he himself drawn. So what I want to say that what the other have intent, what the others have intended, that is being misinterpreted. This is what I like to tell. Now coming back to the other slide now, please. What is this? Here we have a few writers, Noam Chomsky, Ferdinand de Saussure, and Roland Barthes. Chomsky said that, already I have cited him, a text does not have meaning. The meaning is somewhere. It may be with after the second line, or it may be the end of the poem, or maybe in the, if you, for example, if you read a book, after completing 7 pages of a particular book, could you assume what the text is about? No. Could you understand the 7th page of the book after completion of reading? No. So the meaning of the 7th page may be given on the 15th page of the text. Sometimes the 15th page of the text, the meaning of the text may be given on the 19th page of the text. So we cannot arrive at the meaning of a particular page immediately completing the reading of a particular page. The meaning is not just because the meaning is not there. I think some of the people might have heard the novels written by Palaster. you cannot understand an individual novels of Pallister. So if you read the first novel, the meaning of the first novel is given in the second novel. So without reading the second novel, you cannot understand what is said there in the first novel, because in the novel does not end there. The pages end there. The pages end there in the novel, but the novel continues in the second novel. So without knowing the second novel, you cannot understand the first. Without knowing the third novel, you cannot understand the second. So this is how the theme which runs through his volumes of writings. So the meaning does not lie within there; it lies somewhere. So this is what Abrahams, the other literary critics and professor of English, who has said that adjective correlative. So without that connotative meaning, Mr. Again I go back to Eliot poem Wasteland. Mr. Parker and his daughter wash their feet under the soda water. The river sweats tar and oil. People throw waste napkins, puffed cigarettes, and waste materials. This is how Eliot who describes the river Thames. This is the meaning. Could you understand the meaning of the text here itself? I cited the line from Westland. We cannot understand until otherwise without getting know, because the meaning is not here. It lies somewhere. Where it lies? Spencer's Fairy Queen. Sweet Thames runs softly till I end my song. So where the river is portrayed in the time of Spencer, it is something sweet one, a beautiful one. Now the same river portrayed by Eliot, the river serves oil and tar. It is being corrupted, polluted by the modern people. They throw waste material into that. So the meaning of Westland, I mean the line cited from Westland could be understood with Fairy Queen, Princess Fairy Queen, without this is called linkage. So linking to text where you could understand the meaning. That is why this postmodern critics, writers, creative writers, they wantonly make their writing something very difficult and complex. Readers, they want to give something tough. Because they want to leave their reader in a dilemma. Purposefully, they construct the text in order to make their reader to reread their text. This is the purpose of this postmodern writers, or problems with the postmodern criticism, postmodern creative writing, whatever you may say that. And the other one is Roland Barthes. I have Roland Barthes by Roland Barthes, other critical book written by Roland Barthes. What he says, when the reader takes up a text where the author dies, he kills the author, and he comes up, the reader comes up with his own meaning, his or her own meaning. This is what Roland Barthes says. Okay, let us move to the others. I think this is the last slide we have come to. I think employment of texture in text. So what all I have so far said, different literary approaches or literary different types of methods of interpreting particular literary text. But now how we could apply into literary text. I have brought some of the literary text from different literary zones. The first one is Stopping by Woods on a Snow Evening, written by Robert Frost. Already he himself is a doubled man. Duality, he is a dual always. So when you go through any one of his poem, you could find he is not so concrete. He is going here and there. He wantonly make your reader to live in a dilemma. So it is quite familiar to the readers and some of the people. It is also prescribed in schools and colleges and universities. But Some of the people might have read the poem. You are quite conversant with the poem. That's why I have taken this poem for the analysis. So what the poem is about, we are being taught and how we have observed the poem. We have observed it is a poem of adventure. It is a poem of motivation because when you the last line, woods are lovely, dark and deep, but I have promised to um, no. This is how the poem goes. The woods are lovely, dark and deep, but I have promised to keep 2 miles to go before I sleep. 2 miles to go before I sleep. This is what the poem ends. Even that is those 4 lines being kept in the tables of formerly Prime Minister of India, Jawaharlal Nehru. This what it is. The poem is meant for some. It is adventure journey, or it is a poem meant for hope, strong grit. Wow, this is what is being taught to us. But I can say that it is not such. Because I do not bring any centripetal approach. Okay, I do not bring any literary sources from outside the text. So when you restrict yourself to the poem only, I mean the text only, stopping by words, then I could interpret the poem in a different way, where with even available words. Words means with available image, concrete images used in the poem. A darkest evening of the year. I quote the line. The darkest evening of the year. The jingling sound of the hearts. The smoke. Thick food. Thick wood. Thick forests. The frozen lake. The ice bar. The lake is being broken. Look at here. Evening itself, evening, snowy, woods, dark wood, all the things represents death. Which are in literary context, in archetype of criticism, a numbness, which denotes the meaning of numbness, death, cool, danger. Evening means the rising sun, which represents growth. Evening, which represents dying, death. The darkest evening of the darkest evening. And this is how we can interpret the poem with available terms or with available images in the poem. And the other one is and I don't want to go into deep. I don't have the time. I want to touch up some of the other literature genres given here. If you permit, can I complete, ma'am? So, okay. The other little piece that I have chosen, that's Macbeth. People say that what makes there. So if you go through the play Macbeth, where you can understand that a single word is used again and again. I think it is the word blood. Blood. It is a symbol of. It is not used as a word. It is used as an image. It means it is a horror. Blood represents a horror. And not only that, in different contexts it is used. So how many times it is used? It is more than 100 times used in the text, in the play Macbeth, not as a word but as an image. So when you try to interpret the word blood used in a different context, in the different places, the entire play will give you some different meanings. Like that, in the other play, Lear, the word, a single word which comes and again in every page, in every paragraph, I could say, that is nothing. Nothing is a word which plays a vital role in the play Lear. Without that, there is no Lear. So nothing means something, because Shakespeare, in such a great genius, has used a single word in different contexts, in different places with a different meaning. So the entire play Lear.
Soundarajan sir, excuse me. our faculty are worried about the bus facility that they have. They have to board the bus, sir.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Can I stop now?
Yeah, it is your wish, sir.
Okay. Uh,
I'm sorry,
so
sir, but they have to go home without bus. It will be very difficult for
okay,
them
no
to
problem.
reach their home.
So language is a spectacle of what we cannot think. This is what said by the Nicola Prasad, one of the other linguists. Language is a spectacle of what we cannot think, because language which creates doubleness, multipleness, sometimes more layers of meaning. Meanings not with us, but it is with you always. With this, I thank all the authorities for having given me the chance. Sorry for the inconvenience that caused because of certain technical issues. I thank the Joint Registrar, HD of English Department of Dr. MGR University, and also I thank the Dean of English Department and Humanities Sciences for having given me this chance. I also extend my gratitude to Dr. Karpagavadivu, who has introduced me to your department. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Now I call our department faculty, Ms. S. Bhuvaneshwari, ma'am, to propose the vote of thanks.
Thank you, ma'am. Good evening, all. I feel immense pleasure to preside vote of thanks to all the good souls who contributed to make this guest lecture on text and texture in literature, a grand success. I'd like to thank our Honorable President, Engineer ACS Arun Kumar, for his greater support and his guidance. Our sincere gratitude to our Provost Dr. Gopalakrishnan and Vice Chancellor Dr. Geeta Lakshmi for their encouragement. I extend my thanks to Dr. Malini Pandey, Dean HNDS, for her support to the department. I wish to thank our Zebaraj I wish to thank our Dr. D.B. Jebera, Joint Register E&S, and Dr. N.S. Subhashri, Dean E&S, for extending their constant support for our department. I also wish to thank our Uday Kala ma'am, Head, Department of Chemistry, Director, IKSC, for her kindness and support for our department. I'd like to thank Dr. R. Pushkala, Dean Literary Seminary, for guiding and continuous support to develop our department. I also wish to place my sincere thanks to Dr. Mary Thomas, for Dean, Department of English, for her encouragement. I wish to thank Dr. Chandrasena Rajeshwaran, Head, Department of English, for her guidance and motivation. I'd like to thank Dr. M. Soundararajan, Assistant Professor, Department of English, Annamalai University, Chief Guest of this program, for his inspired and motivational thanks. Sir, I wish to thank you especially for your brief explanation of text, texture in literature, what is text, how it has taken, and consolidately, I wish to say that when the readers read the text, the author dies. Really, I attracted this by this quotation. I hope everybody uh, enjoy the program. Okay, I wish to thank the faculty members of our department for their cooperation. Before concluding, let me express our sincere gratitude and appreciation to all the participants. Thank you once again. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Participants, thanks for your participation. And we have posted our feedback link. You can fill the feedback link to get your certificate for this guest lecture.